I'm outside the Radcam building. I believe it's a library. Why I'm here, ladies and gentlemen, is to place a marker that I've been around the country to propose that I could be considered as the next Archbishop of Canterbury. Now, I've been outside the General Synod for the last 3 days, and one of the examples I give, I said to some bishop, when God bent down to touch your head, His grace is magnified the distance that He touches your head. But when God bends down to touch my head, because I'm not even a priest, I'm not even on the first rung of the ladder, He'll touch me further than you. So he laughed at that. He understood that when He touches my head, God's grace is magnified further because He's going ground level. Now, having given that example, I have an identity. So let's say 52 years ago I decided to become a doctor. My name now would be Dr. Thomas Darwood, but it's not. I'm just a retired carpenter. What I am is a true 21st century Joseph, to emulate the biblical Joseph who became a surrogate prime minister. Now, what did he achieve? He understood Pharaoh had 2 bad dreams, which under divine guidance, God gave Joseph understanding of what the 2 dreams meant. They meant 7 years of fabulous harvest, followed by 7 years of barrenness. Nothing would grow. When Pharaoh heard this understanding, he said, "Joseph, that is magnificent and so simple. Will you become my prime minister?" And Pharaoh said to Joseph, "I will give you authority to do whatever you like to save my country." So Joseph prayed to God for guidance, and he came back to Pharaoh and said, "I will build barns with your government all around Egypt, so when the 7 years of abundance come, we'll store all the grain in those barns." And Pharaoh said, "That's brilliant, do that." And that's what Joseph did. When the 7 years of abundance came, he stored all the grain in the barns around the country. Now, when the famine came, the surrounding nations came to Egypt and said, "Your Majesty, we have no grain." And Pharaoh said to Joseph, "Well, you've done a great job to feed Egypt. Surely there's no grain left." Joseph said, "Your Majesty, I can't understand it. There's so much grain left over. We can feed the surrounding nations." And that is the end of the biblical story. Now, how it applies to 21st century Britain is in this way. First of all, what determines the West? Because the West is about to be decimated culturally, politically, and economically. Now, what constitutes the West? Britain, Europe, and the United States of America constitute what we mean by the West, and that is in peril of being decimated. Now, how does it apply to how I can help that decimation from taking place? Well, the 7 years of abundance relate to this picture here. It is a picture of the last 500 years. The face of the drawer alludes to 2,000 years of Christianity. The artifacts inside are images which allude to art and science, and the two together reflect what I mean by Western civilization. Now, that was meant to deal with Stonehenge, our evolutionary nature which lacked intelligence. The last 500 years gave humanity, through art and science, intelligence, and that is what's in danger of being decimated. That is the legacy of the past 500 years. Now, the person that can deal with it is a Trinitarian figure to represent Western civilization, and that is the future Archbishop of Canterbury, the future monarch, and the future Pope. But I believe those 3 figures will become one figure in myself. So that is the remarkable claim that I'm making. And that is the figure which alludes to the biblical Joseph, who dealt with Egypt's abundance and the surrounding nations of famine. Our surrounding nations is Europe and the United States of America. So what I have to achieve firstly is to help Britain to overcome the famine, which is the wokeism that's destroying Western culture. So just incidentally, this morning when I was looking at newspapers, Kenny Basenkopf, the leader of Labour Party, had headlines in one of the newspapers says, "We must save the West," or the headline to that nature. So I hope today will become relevant, and I will write to leader of the Conservative Party, say I've made this video with the help of Jake in Oxford, the greatest university the world has ever known, and I hope I can bring hope and a resolution as to how the West can be saved, not just by me, but like the biblical Joseph, through the government, we can get together and do something to save the West. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you, Jake.